level crossing removal project, major construction blitz, new Union Station open, late May 2023. Good morning, stakeholders. It's Waterman. Stakeholders, it's Waterman. I was aware that there was a new project coming up in the local area, a similar removing boom gates, but this project a lot more complicated, a much bigger area, over 1.5 kilometres the work site proposed, and not just one set of boom gates being removed, two sets of boom gates in two different suburbs, through two different postcodes, two different localities, and a 1.5 kilometre trench lowering the rail line under the road in these eastern suburbs, and a slightly tricky area in that it's an undulating, rising topography, and a couple of curves to contend with. So I was thinking, well, I've always enjoyed this character. Like this Waterman character is always, he cheers me up. Like I was worried initially in 2016 that I might have been wasting my time, because I had no idea what I was doing. I knew there was no audience for this, but I suppose like most creatives, you know, it's a matter of finding your audience, finding your niche, and I think the key thing I've learnt, especially over this last few weeks, is, and I've been saying to myself, am I enjoying what I'm doing? Well, the answer is always yes. It's a resounding yes. And this Waterman character is my favourite character out of all the scripts I've ever written, the stories I've ever written. And Fico, if you're still listening in, this Waterman character even beats the Tic Tac Men that I wrote at Oxford while we were there, and that's saying something because that was based on a story my dad told me, actually. So yeah, this Waterman character, I really wanted to have a go at this new project because I really loved what I did in 2016 with Project Waterman and filming the live worksite and marrying the fiction and marrying the fiction with the reality. Now I've just seen a question come up. This is awesome. Dr. Fico is asking, it's not a silly question, mate, never a silly question at all. I'm famous for silly questions. How did I find the editing of the 50 hours? Do you know, I really enjoyed it. All I had to do was find the cheapest software possible because I'm a tight ass. And once I found, because I don't use Adobe, it's too expensive. I found a different type of software, and it's all the same to me. But I'd been practicing editing video footage a few years before that because as an actor I needed a show reel, and nobody ever told me what an actor's show reel should be. Who do you get to, what do you put in it, how do you... So I did all that research, and I'd actually edited an actor's show reel together in the few years before that, so I was already toying with it. And so the editing of the 50 hours of footage, I had a vision in my head of what the product, the web series looked like, and I had the story, and the story was evolving, and I was continually regurgitating the story throughout different days, different filming, and as different circumstances popped up, I was able to weave and wave the story into those circumstances. So I didn't keep a great record of the thing that really scared me actually was, how do I find the story that I know is there amongst all that footage? I actually don't know how to do that. But do you know what? I ended up, when I did go through the footage, I remembered certain days, and then when I saw certain weather conditions or certain positions, because I filmed from about, now you do know, I've never counted it up, I probably filmed at about between 10 to 18 regular spots. And I always started off the day of filming outside a dentist's in the main road, and I'd introduce the day there, and I'd recap what I'd done, and I'd say what I was going to do. So that kind of helped. But things changed, of course. So yeah, the 50 hours got there. The focus of time management. Oh look, it's all a blur, mate. At the moment, and because I was doing it during lockdowns, there was no problem with time. That I allowed I tried to work an 8-hour day. I'm best in the morning, and by the afternoon, say between 2 and 4 o'clock, I was starting to flag. So I tend to naturally down tools anyway. But I treated it like a job that someone was paying me for. It was just a case of being disciplined and motivated. And I can tell you, Fico, actually, that once I got my teeth into it, and once I could see the first couple of episodes coming together, because the other thing was that I was always working on little teaser trailers of maybe 2 to 3.5 minutes, so they were helping. And yeah, the other thing is that because there was about a 4 to 5 year gap between filming and editing helped to remind me how much fun I had while I was filming, and I got really fit. Because the other thing is, although the camera was small, it only kept 10 minutes of footage at a time, and I had to carry my laptop with me at every single moment. That when the camera filled up the 10-minute card, I'd download it to the laptop and a portable hard drive, so that I could stay out on the streets or the work site around the streets around the work site. So I got incredibly fit. Anyway, what did I focus on? I tried to focus on what story am I going to focus on, what topic in the 10 minutes that I'm trying to create an episode out of, and how did I manage to pick out what I wanted. There were certain memories I had that I had to find, because what I did was I documented everything by date and then month, and there was only 2 months over 6 weeks. And then I tried to identify, well, which 10-minute clip, or I tried to film in 10-minute blocks, and I tried to film in lengthy blocks, but the trouble with that was I had to watch all the 10 minutes, the clip, to find the gold that I remembered or thought I remembered. So I found right now I'm a much better I tend to film in 15-second clips, 20-second clips, 30-second clips. But what I do when I commentate on the action in front of me, I'll go as long as that monologue goes for. And when I do when I make up things on the spot, I tend to film myself to the camera. But I tell you, I came out with some rip snorters. My favourite monologue is when I'm pretending to be on the phone. If you can find that episode, it's about episode 15 or 16. Waterman is standing on a step with workmen behind him, and he's pretending to be on the phone. And if you can find that episode, I'm talking into thin air, pretending to be on the phone, and I'm making up a story in that moment. So that's things like that I tried to remember, and then go through the footage. Yeah, the Tic Tac Men. Do you know, Fico, I'm 9 minutes away from my designated 40 minutes, but I'm not afraid to go over if people find it interesting, because I know people are dropping in and out, and I really appreciate you dropping in comments. It's really good of you, because it's nice to talk about something other than what's in my head. So I appreciate the questions, and hopefully my battery will keep going on the Sony, so this audio will still be high definition later on. Do you know, Fico, when I wrote the Tic Tac Men, I fully intended to turn that into a full-length play, and do you know, I've never ever got that job done. I can see the story in my head, but I just can't find the discipline to sit down and bash that full-length play out anyway. Let's see. Yeah, no, the editing, I've really, like, I enjoy it. I've become a better editor, and the best example of that is the current trailer that I've just published today. If you look, there's a trailer there where yesterday I had a mishap. I had a facial mishap yesterday, and I filmed myself, and I realised that I can't use that footage, but I want to use the audio. And so when I get the train to go to this work site, I'm trying to get the 5 o'clock train, which is, you know, the sun's not coming up till 6:30. And if you watch that clip, you'll see that I walked through the carriage just filming different 2 seconds of different views. So have a look, see what you think. So yeah, hours of work. I'm hopeless. I'm no good at night, so I do my best work in the morning. So I was a bit worried about this Q&A that my energy levels would be too low. So I know that there's a couple of people watching, dropping in and out here and there. So for those of you that are dropping in and out, it's great that you've made time to, I know there's a few people off LinkedIn mentioned by way of responding to, you won't get any more invites from me through LinkedIn or Facebook. This is the only one. So the main thing was that I wanted to have a go at something different. Anybody that knows me and is connected to me on LinkedIn, you'll know that I post only when there's something worth saying. And this live event is, there may be more live events, Q&As, as a way of putting the content out there, but in terms of like bothering people with direct invites and direct emails, I won't do that again, because the main thing is I've let you all know that you know, this second series is filming. I've made a commitment, and that takes me back to, before I forget, apologies, before I forget, I wasn't going to film this current worksite with this character, because I was so sure that I couldn't repeat the magic of this character, and I was so sure that I just couldn't think of a new story or a new way in. Like, I couldn't do the same thing again, and I wanted to evolve the story. I wanted the character to be slightly different, and I'd come up with such an awesome ending for the first series. If you don't want to watch the whole series, watch the last episode to see what happens, and I'll be more than happy to fill you in on how I created that ending with the camera by myself. But the closer the shutdown came, it's going to be shut for 4 months, this train line, this worksite, and the closer it got, and I've got a better camera, of course, thanks to COVID. COVID payments by the government. I didn't catch COVID, not yet, I don't think. So my gut instinct was, I have to have a go. I have to. So at least I can look myself in the mirror and say I didn't miss out an opportunity. So I've been going to this worksite every day for between 8 and 14 hours on foot, just with a camera and just with my imagination, and I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. So I'm really pleased. So, because this character, like I said, I just love him. He's the most favourite of all the characters I've ever created in writing or in acting. Characters I've written songs about and then sung at open mic nights. Waterman beats them all. So how did I keep my momentum up? Now, are you talking, Fico, are you talking about momentum as in momentum for the job of editing, or momentum in terms of filming. If I talk about momentum as in terms of filming, you see, I'm not a very high energy person. I've never been one of those people who, you know, is bursting with energy, bursting with enthusiasm. I tend to focus on what do I have to do, what do I have to get done. So STM Asia Pacific can confirm that there was a significant safety breach at its live work site at the Surrey Hills Level Crossing Removal Project this week. It was revolved around a work permit that was not approved for the moving of infrastructure on this site. It caused a lot of disruption and distress to the local residents and local traders. We're terribly embarrassed. We're all in shock, and we will be looking into this. No, we're not looking for scapegoats at this stage. A safety risk audit committee has been assembled, which I will be leading. Look, I really can't say any more. If you need any more information, you really need to talk to Abby, our executive communications consultant, and I really can't say any more. No, thank you. Thanks. What kept me going initially when I was doing the first series in 2016 was just the educational factor of seeing these huge machines in your local area and coming in off long loaded trailers, the B-double dumpers, the huge buckets of earth, extracting all this material and taking it away, and then it's such a foreign world. And when early on I saw an image I'll never forget, and I was lucky enough to be able to film it, and it's actually in the web series, that I saw a huge digger working on removing the dirt from the train line, and I was standing in a street looking through somebody's driveway, and the digger was behind their backyard, but it looked like just the way the image presented itself, and the shape, the topography, and then when I filmed it, it looked like it was a transformer going bonkers in someone's backyard, eating their washing. And these are the kinds of images, the juxtaposition, that I really love, and I've taught myself, and I've realised that I'm incredibly skilled at filming and editing and riffing as the character. I know how to frame a shot better than I did 7 years ago. So my spirit, keeping up the energy, like I like the aspect of it, seeing something in my head as far as the story goes. I know where to stand, I know how to talk to the workers, because it's very sensitive around these work sites. Now, you don't need a film permit to do what I do, but I learnt a lot about etiquette around work sites in 2016, and where the current works are, it's incredibly sensitive. That's a whole other filmmaker Q&A. Keeping the spirits up has been quite easy, because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to produce script readings, and I'm amazed that no one else does it, because you've got control over marketing, you're controlling your own writing, you're plugging your own work. But if you take it back to the other extreme, what I love about this is all I need is my own imagination. I need a camera, I need a reason to do it, and I need a story, and I don't need anyone else. And that's a huge motivating factor, because I'm not a control freak. I'm not an obsessive where it's got to be my way or no way. I guess I've reached an age where involving other people is just so complicated that I've tried throughout the last 10, 12 years to involve other people, and I've given actors the opportunity to perform, and I don't believe in applying for funding. I think I'd rather spend the time applying that. If I have to spend time applying for funding, the opportunity cost of that is that I'm not focusing on doing what I can do by myself. So yeah, that's how I keep my spirits up. That I really enjoy what I do in this particular project, because the great thing is I've got the runs on the board now. I've also got the market cornered. There is no other filmmaker in Australia, maybe the world, doing what I'm doing. It doesn't bother me that it's a very niche topic, that it's a very niche genre. It doesn't bother me at all, because I'm really good at what I'm doing, is the other thing that I think. Now, what else we got there? The untold stories, mate. I got to tell you, Fico, it's your stories I miss, mate. And I'm still one of my great regrets, and we're cracking into the 40-minute mark, so I'm going to keep talking until we all get bored, and it's a shame it's a one-way conversation that I'm the one doing all the talking, so I apologise, but I'll keep going to answer the questions until we all run out of steam. Because there are people dropping in and out, and they're probably different people. I can't tell if it's the same people, but I'm assuming it's just people randomly dropping in and out. So yeah, Fico, the podcasts that I recorded in that was also 2016 actually. Before I started, as I was starting filming this project, all of those podcasts. And yours was the only one that I planned, which I never got done. And I apologise profusely. If only those actors, mate, if only those actors had have held up their end of the bargain. That was the story. About 2 of them let me down. I'm so sorry, because I built you up, and I felt guilty about building you up to get your script recorded. But it's genuine. The actors read it at the live script reading, and they all loved it, and so did the audience. But what was I going to say about untold stories? Yeah, look, I haven't got any untold stories myself yet. I haven't been writing in a formal sense since our good friend Jackie Lee King stopped curating topics for our publication. Filming, yeah, it's a time thing, isn't it? Filming, editing, and the reason I don't mind saying this, I don't normally talk about myself so much, but I'm not married, I don't have kids, so of course I should be doing something with my time. That I was occupied with family duties between 2016 and until recently. Yeah, the time thing, the time management, Fico, sometimes, and I'm going to talk specifically about this particular project, that the project itself kind of dictates, what you need to put into it. I'm very lucky that before I got to Oxford to do the creative writing summer school, I already had a knack since I was in high school, actually. If I have an idea to write about, and when it was teachers telling you to write a certain length of words or whatever, and by the time I got to Oxford, I already had the skill of writing to a certain length, and it didn't matter how much time, and I've still got that skill. Yeah, no, nothing to apologise for. But still, I felt a bit guilty because I had a big target in mind, and so don't be hesitant. Don't be afraid to drop a comment. You just need to be a subscriber to drop a comment and contribute some feedback, because I really don't want to bore you all just talking to myself, but I know people are dropping in and out, and there'll be a replay of this with high definition audio later on in the next few days, maybe a couple of weeks, we'll see, but this replay will be here regardless. immediately after I finish. So thanks for sticking around, and we'll see you on the other side for the second Meet the Filmmaker Q&A. And all this entire live event will be put together with high definition audio, together with the content. That if you choose to come back, the content will be there in a high grade format.
We apologise for any inconvenience caused.
There's replacement buses between Box Hill and Camberwell.
Good morning, stakeholders. It's Waterman. Now, didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you that the Churchill Cafe was up for auction? If you didn't believe me, you should have. Hi, chaps. I just wanted to make sure I stop while you're walking down, because it's not fair.
As long as we're looking sharp.
Well, you look sharp to me, that's for sure. Yeah. That's those chaps. A couple of jolly fellows, but they're not stopping for a coffee at the Churchill Cafe today.
I'm not recording your voice or anything. Waterman, some transport consultant. Advise on timelines and make sure that everything's to do with the contract has been awarded to their firm, that the timeline's being met. So we'll be taking a short tour of the site.
Just a reminder, we can campaign at Box Hill.
So come with me, we'll start right now.
There's replacement buses between Box Hill and Camberwell.
We apologise for any inconvenience caused.
And if you need any more questions, my name's Waterman.
We apologise for any inconvenience caused.
Now, didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you? We were just waiting for this chap to roll up so we could see how he handles the weather. Back to business.